Okay, the last film I'm reviewing this week is the Virginity Hit, and this is a huge letdown of epic fail proportions. A movie that tries to be clever disguised as an indie comedy, passing itself off as an alternative to the lame-brained teen comedies we've seen so much of over the last decade, is actually worse than most of those movies are trying to be the alternative to. That is a failure of epic proportions, people. Come on. Even you gotta agree with me there, some of you. Now, again, you gotta think of a movie like this, it's the glamorization of, and again, movies don't glamorize, this sort of stuff in the sense that, say, a film like Superbad does, but, okay, this is a glamorization of theft, drugs, sex, alcohol, porn, and prostitution in the context of underage teens being inspiring and funny. Now, in films like Superbad, there was some of those elements, yes, but was there an element of heart to that? Absolutely. If these elements were done in a more clever context, like say in a film like Animal House, also some many years ago, or even American Pie, this just fails in that. Like it tries to make it seem like it's a good thing to do. Those movies, in its comedic, aspects of those jokes involving some of the things I've named, have had consequences to them, and the consequences played off as funny. The consequences here, they just don't seem to get that they're consequences. They seem to think this is just a natural part of life. It isn't, people. I'm sorry. But anyway, moving on. I gotta say, it's easier to side with the film's, I guess you say antagonist, like sort of the villain. He's a grad student who exploits the central character for the animal he is. This guy is a savage. If I had a teenage daughter, and I have a sister who's 4 years old, and when she's 12 years a teenager, I would not want her anywhere near the so-called hero of this film. Not that I want her anywhere near Jonah Hill in Superbad, or, but still, at least Jonah Hill's character in Superbad, still, he was, like, again, we realized he was, kind of putting on a front, trying to be clever all the time, but he still really cared about this girl, and wanted, something to happen with her, but even though his what he wanted may not have been wholesome, in the end, his heart really was in the right place. But again, he's just trying to be a teenager. Here, this guy just really is a savage. But anyway, I gotta say, the Virginity Hit is just about, again, it's one of those movies. 4 friends vow to have sex before high school graduation. How many times have we seen that? American Pie did it a million times better. Now, Matt is a skinny nerd with curly hair and thick glasses and becomes the lone version of the pack. And the subject of this so-called documentary, filmed by his it's a mockumentary, I guess, by his best friend Zach. He's a ginger Jonah Hill caricature, and it really just doesn't work. Jonah Hill has charm, even though sometimes you want to smack Jonah Hill's characters in the face, you can't get enough of them. Now, Matt's friends do everything in their power to make sure he scores after Matt misses a chance to have sex with his girlfriend of 2 years. This leads to the desperate teen looking for sex in all the wrong places and people, the online stranger, at the time, yada 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 yada, and then it just turns into a big mess. No, I'm not just talking from a storyline standpoint, I'm talking to a film standpoint, If this is an honest portrayal of American adolescence, we are in huge trouble, people, and I'm saying this as a Canadian. If this is even happening in Canada right now, oh, please someone help us. These youths are just really heartless morons, just dropping profanities as if their lives depended on it, and treating sex as if it were just some game in which young girls' bodies are the prize. Have other films try to portray that? Yes, but again, what did I say that this film was lacking? I said this film was lacking of people being heartless morons. Some of the characters in these films were morons, but they were morons with heart. They had feelings, and even the profanities came in the proper context. And again, their ambition wasn't heartless, it was just an ambition. It was an ambition they thought would, think they needed, but in the end, they realized what it was really about. In this film, it's just idiotic. Now, perhaps this film could have been successful if it satirized the juvenility. Here, it glorifies it. Other teen films have satirized it successfully, more like a film like along the lines of Porky's back in the 80s, or like I said earlier, Animal House. And again, the tone never implies anything is wrong with these privileged predators. In American Pie, we thought Steve Stifler was an obnoxious jerk. That's because he was an obnoxious jerk. This movie tries to tell us it's okay to be an obnoxious jerk, but who suffered some of the most ridiculous consequences in American Pie films? Steve Stifler. Hello? That's what his character was there for. I was hoping all these characters would just have something horrible happen to them. I mean, seriously. Like, maybe just to wake them up. Now, again, this is... it's some of the stuff could have been innovative, convincing, honest, and I know it wanted to be that, but at the same time, there's just no value to be found in this alleged so-called teen rom-com. But it concludes with some words about, saving your virginity for someone you love, but the film as a whole doesn't coincide with that message, kind of like what the 40-Year-Old Virgin did. Again, you look at a film like that, and the same thing with name any other film that has that sort of ambition, the rom-coms. There are a lot of them that really, have that sort of underlying nice, wholesome, well, not, I shouldn't say wholesome, but nice, good message to send. But really, this film doesn't build up to that at all. It just kind of came out of nowhere. It was just drawn out of thin air. I don't mind this sort of stuff, again, as I've been saying this whole thing when it comes to, proper storytelling. And I wouldn't mind this so bad if even if it was a 5 or 10 minute YouTube skit, so just we can laugh at how idiotic these people are. But, come on. No, this is nothing. So, as much as I was looking forward to this film, this is probably the biggest letdown of the year. I give the Virginity Hit the big fat 0. And that is it for this week. So, next week I'll be back hopefully with better movies than the Virginity Hit. One of them, of course, being Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps, starring Michael Douglas returning as Gordon Gekko, and co-starring with him as Carey Mulligan and Shia LaBeouf. Also, Buried, starring Ryan Reynolds. You Again, with Jamie Lee Curtis and Betty White and a plethora of others. Legend of the Guardians, a new animated film. You Will Meet a Tall, Dark Stranger, the latest film directed by Woody Allen, featuring an ensemble cast, of course, which you expect anything less from him. And a new foreign film, Enter the Void, and that is all next week. Until then, join my Facebook group, right up here, Bill Chase and the Movies. And I'll be back with some more fall goodness, at least I hope so. That is it for this week's edition of Bill Chase Movies, and until then, I am Bill Chase, and I will be at the movies. Goodbye, everybody.